Joining us now is Father Chris, and he is in studio to share the details about the upcoming conference, Rise Up, O Men of God. And not your first trip here. You've been here before.
I have.
So you're becoming a regular on This Is the Day.
Except last year I was sick.
Hey, and you're feeling good this year?
Much better.
Even with a 2-hour ride from New Hampshire.
Yeah, it was a bit of a doozy this morning, but the Lord was teaching me patience.
Well, tell us a little bit about the conference, Father.
Well, Jay, it's going to be a men's conference. The title is Rise Up, O Men of God. We wanted to name it something like the Men's Beer Blast, but we thought we wanted to keep the spiritual meaning intact. And really, it's going to be May 3rd, and we're looking basically to serve the needs of men. Because unfortunately today, a sense of men's spirituality sometimes gets lost a little bit. Maybe sometimes some people see a picture or statue of my founder, St. Francis, and they see like his face very kind, very caring, and also maybe a little bit effeminate. So not that that's a bad thing, but they're trying to show his devotion and his love so that he's somebody you can approach. And so sometimes guys look at this and they say, this doesn't seem like who I am. You know, maybe I'm a bit more rough, maybe I'm a bit more rugged, that kind of a thing. So we want to kind of meet those needs of the men of our parish and let them know that there is a place for their being men and also being spiritual at the same time. So we've invited Father Bill Casey from the Fathers of Mercy. He's going to give us 2 talks, one specifically on the spiritual combat of today, and you know, I guess that's a really good thing, you know, to talk about spiritual combat. Guys feel like they can get a little bit, a little macho in that, you know, but of course it's in the spiritual sense. And also, he's also going to talk about Mary and her role in spiritual battle. You had mentioned earlier Genesis, and as we know, God said to the serpent, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. And of course, we know in Revelation that John talks about how there's that enmity also between the devil and Mary and the rest of those who give witness to Jesus, of course, and that's us, the church. So, you know, teaching men how to be in that spiritual combat behind Our Lady, behind Mary. And then we're also going to be joined by Boston's own Father Rick Martignetti. He's one of my confreres, well known in the youth conference circle. He's also done a lot with Franciscan spirituality, that kind of a thing. So I think it's going to be a great retreat.
Sounds cool.
Conference, yeah.
How can a gathering like this really enliven a man's faith and sort of get him back on the track so that when he leaves, he's able to bring that out into his little world?
Kevin, that's a great question. And I think first and foremost, it can show a man that he's not alone in trying to practice his faith, in wanting to be spiritual and wanting to follow Jesus, and his love for the church and his love for the Eucharist, and his love also for Our Lady. So that's the first thing. I think also at the same time, from that we hope that the men on the retreat will form community, you know, small groups, men sharing groups, and that's one of our goals from this retreat, is to then help them to continue that sharing and that reflecting upon their faith.
So how do we get men, and before I say that, first of all, I should send Ethan to you about Genesis, because you seem to explain it much better than I ever could. See, I'll say, go talk to Father Chris. He'll tell you all about it.
I'm no expert, but I know a little bit.
How do we get men to talk about their faith? Because I think you hit upon it, Father. Sometimes we as men like to sit in the background, and a lot of times you look at a parish and the ladies are doing a lot of the work, and we say, okay, but how do we bring our faith forward? Because I think that's very powerful for our children, our younger men, and even for our older men. What do we do?
It's a very good question about how to get men to share their faith. I think first and foremost is when we have guys who are very active in our parishes, that they be in the forefront, that they be the ones kind of sometimes even inviting men into that relationship. Because I think sometimes as men, we're afraid to maybe begin that kind of a thing. But if there are others already doing it and being active in saying, hey, this guy needs some fraternity, let's pull him in, it can help. So I know, for instance, in our parish up at St. Thomas in Derry, we have Knights of Columbus, and they're very active. In fact, it's almost the reverse, whereas a lot of times at the liturgy, you'd see a lot of women helping out. We still have a good number of women as lectors and as greeters, but then we have a lot of Knights of Columbus who are doing things like Eucharistic ministering and also ushering, and also doing some of the greeting as well.
How did you come up, or what made you decide on the theme this year?
Well, I think first and foremost, last year we had done a retreat for women. We had Kimberly Hahn come, and of course with women it's very easy. You mentioned that there's a retreat, and the word spreads like wildfire, and they all come. This year, what happened was last year the pastor handed me a list of people that he wanted me to see if I could get. The first list, the first person on the list, it was impossible, and I said to him, "This is impossible. This person is way too busy." And he said, "That's okay. That was a pipe dream."
Well, Kevin's not that busy. I'm sure Kevin could make some of this.
I should have mentioned it. So the next person on the list was, of course, Father Bill Casey, who's a prominent speaker and has done a lot of talks and a lot of conferences and a lot of retreats. And I called up down to Kentucky, down to the Fathers of Mercy down there, and I spoke to their mission, the priest who's in charge of their mission office, who sends the guys out to the different parishes. And he said, "Oh, I think that Father Bill is busy that weekend." We were looking specifically for this weekend, May 3rd. And he said, "Well, by the way, he sets his own schedule, and here's his phone number, so call him directly." So I called him directly, and he answered immediately. And I asked him, "Father, we were wondering if you were free to come," and he said, "Yes." And I was in shock and really in awe, and so the pastor was very happy with that. But we chose the theme basically based on, as we were reflecting about what men really want to hear. We kind of asked some of our parishioners, some of the men who are active, what they want to hear, and they're the ones who kind of directed what we were looking for.
What's been the reaction to it? Are people excited? What's going on?
I think there is some excitement building about it. But as you know, winter's been long here in the Northeast.
Been long, yes.
And so a lot of people aren't looking at, that kind of like signing up. This is something that's typical for, especially for New Hampshire. It seems that people will sign up more towards like when we're about a month away, kind of like
all
now.
the Northeast is like that.
Yes.
All of the Northeast is like that.
And you're looking for single men coming. You're looking for groups.
All men.
Father and son.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, the more father and son duos, the better, because we're basically tailoring it to any particular vocation, whether the person is single, whether the man is married. Even the high school students we would invite to come, which is also why we invited Father Rick Martin-Yeti to have more of that appeal to the youth too.
Where can people find out more, Father?
Well, they can find out more by contacting our parish and our website, I think, which is now on the screen there. Information will be there. Also, they can call the parish, and that information is also on our website. And we'll be happy to send people either a registration form, and so we can find out what their needs are, if they want lunch, what they want, and if they have any medical needs.
Well, I hope your ride back is a lot quicker than your ride here.
I hope so too.
And thanks for joining us as always, and best of luck.
Thank you guys.
That's good to see.